I mean it in a positive and negative way. You know, it's that classic in 20s, I hate my mom. And then at 30s, I'm like, oh, I'm just like her.
So I recently recorded my first ever roundtable for Netflix India, where we had the talents of BAFTA Breakthrough program. I have already recommended some of their stuff on Chalchitra Talks. मुझे इन लोगों से बात करके बहुत मजा आया.
One scene from Indian landscape of movies and shows which you think AI can never write.
But I think all the scenes of Andaaz Apna Apna.
Half the problem with our cinema or series is about middle-aged men trying to be 17-year-olds and talking about their heartbreak that they had 20 years back.
Just broke so many middle-aged men.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Recommend is something which you love, which is not on Netflix.
Pushpavalli.
So this is a new experience for us. Please let us know what you think of it. And here is our first ever roundtable on Chalchitra Talks.
Hi everyone, welcome to Chalchitra Talks.
Hi.
So guys, like I was telling you that this channel is all about recommendations and inspirations. My first question is, I want everyone to name that one person who inspires you the most, and you can also tell us why. Why don't we start with you, Alok?
I have to say it's my late father, Dasgupta, and Chalchitra. His films, his music is exactly what I identify with in life, not just in career, but in life. So I would say that's my greatest.
Monika?
For me, it's actually been Oprah.
Oh.
Yes,
wow.
She has really been quite an inspiration for me from the time I got introduced to her work. And closer home, it's my daughter.
Wow.
She really is an inspiration for me.
That's lovely. So,
I think it's my mom. I mean it in a positive and negative way. You know, it's that classic in 20s, I hate my mom. And then at 30s, I'm like, oh, I'm just like her. But because she has an impeccable work ethic. She will never say that I don't know something. She will say, of course I know. And then later she's like, what are we going to do about it? And I think that's super inspiring and closer to, not home, but closer to comedy or maybe like performance. I'm a big fan of the Amy Poehler Tina Fey duo, because they were the reason I started. But I said, wow, ऐसे jam करके भी comedy कर सकते हैं. Wow, so that was.
their speeches on
Yeah, they're so.
Yeah.
And just the camaraderie is so cool.
Yeah. This is nice. Adi, what about you?
For me, it's my daughter. Like, she's the center point of my existence. And whenever I see her, I feel like, I have to give my best and make the best films so that she grows up and she feels proud of me. And also my mom, actually. I'm also from Nagpur, same relationship with mom. Like, my mom was very highly educated, but she prioritized us. But she still has a lot of fire in her. So I used to not understand that as a child. So now I understand that a lot. So that's there. And work-wise, I'm a lot of inspired by a lot of writers like Ted Chiang, Ray Bradbury's, and, of those kinds. And filmmaker-wise, Steven Spielberg. Like, I just,
he's
the way he kind of revolutionized, science fiction. Like, he's made all my favorite films. Like,
So Ray Bradbury is also my greatest inspiration, and I'm currently reading Ted Chiang.
Oh my gosh!
I told you I'm also into sci-fi for the same reason. Yeah.
So true sci-fi, Yes.
What about you, Prateek?
I find different inspirations at different points of time, I think.
Yeah.
Difficult family, obviously,
Yeah.
in the sense, partner or niece or brother or mother. It obviously, they are the, the core center of your support group. But I really like looking for inspiration in sportsmen.
Nice.
And like somebody like a Serena Williams or, it just wonderful, specimens of humanities. Just to come through and break through the tournament like that and just to leave a whole sport and a legacy behind you. It's tennis, women's tennis is post-Serena and pre-Serena, These are the kind of people who can do that. So, personally, somebody like that.
Prateek, can I tell you something interesting?
Yeah.
Have you seen Breaking Bad?
Of course.
Have you seen Better Call Saul?
Of course.
Okay. So, on Chalchitra Talks, on the 100th episode, I got the creator of Better Call Saul. And he asked me to recommend one film from India that he should watch. And I recommended your film.
Oh, wow.
I
hope he's there.
Yeah, you spoke with Vince.
Peter Gold. He is there.
Nice, huh?
We all like to meet him.
Yeah. Karthikeya, what about?
Yeah. मेरे पास माँ है, मेरे पास पापा. I mean, yeah. Of course, It's my mom. She has been a super lady. And of course, my dad, being a music composer. I wanted to become a music composer because looking at my dad sitting in the studio in that chair at a very young age, I think I decided then that I'm going to become a composer. And later at a point of time, Rahman sir.
Yeah. Monika, I want you to tell me about BAFTA Breakthrough program, and that is why we all are here. And what's the role of Netflix in it? Like, explain to me like I'm 5.
Okay. Okay. So, like you're 5.
Yeah.
That's a touch.
You can give like the office references.
Get the chalkboard out.
Really, the whole, 9 yards to explaining. So basically, the idea was that how do you take, talented people from India, people who are doing, great work, putting their passion into their work, but are waiting to expand their network, are waiting for that opportunity to collaborate with, artists in their field. How do they broaden the horizon? How do they get that opportunity where they are seen? So the idea was that BAFTA has this. Of course, BAFTA runs a lot of mentorship programs, etc. And Netflix and BAFTA have had a long relationship. And, at different levels. And when we came together to back this program, the idea was to go international. So we brought it to India. This is the 3rd year. So in year 1, we were also sort of nervous, excited. How would it pan out? What would be the applications like? And what does breakthrough mean? उसका मतलब क्या है कि आपने कुछ बहुत बड़ा कर लिया है तो फिर आपको क्यों ये opportunity मिल रही है? अगर इतना बड़ा कर ही लिया है तो फिर ये उसको मिलनी चाहिए people who don't have that opportunity, right? But the way the definition was, for BAFTA Breakthrough and how Netflix's collaboration is to really find the artists, the creators, the new voices who will power the entertainment industry for the years to come. It was not about that moment or that year. Yeah. Who are the people out of the pool of talent who are emerging? How do you spot them and back their vision for their own career or what they want to do next and or where they are coming from? So it's that moment where you spot that talent, you feel they really sort of need that opportunity to expand their horizons because they have done that impactful, original, meaningful work. So we were very excited and BAFTA was excited. We came together and that's how it began.
Lovely. And how has this program helped you?
We're sitting with you.
That's the point.
You recommended his movie?
ये pre-cap में डाल देना.
I want to speak about your meeting with Peter Gould. Because my life depends on Breaking Bad and better.
You know how we got him through Twitter. I tweeted that I want to get you on the 100th episode. I asked every friend of mine to retweet. 1 month there was nothing. I once did a stream with Jagjit Singh songs that like he is not responding. Let's hear. Then the next day I wake up, I see on Twitter Peter Gould followed you and there was a DM by him. Are you still interested in having me on your show? If yes, this is my assistant's email.
Wow.
Oh man.
So,
as I said, we hate you a little bit. No, but this is tell me about it. Like how has this program helped you?
Different ways for me personally, just about being able to meet some people whose work you really admire and this just generally talking to them about your own confusions, like because like Monika said, it's not ki breakthrough ho gaya abhi sab badal gaya. It's because you're constantly struggling with your own doubts and self-doubts and also want to know what's the next step. So to be able to talk to people whose work you admire, body of work you admire, so that was personally great. And more important, closer home, just getting to know, your contemporaries who are doing music, who are doing stand-up, who are making films. It's just so nice. Unfortunately, we are coming through a time where उतना नहीं कर पाए जितना करना चाहते थे, but hopefully it's an ongoing thing. कि यार someday she might be doing music for a video game, we might be writing for a screenplay for a video game, or that kind of hopes keep you engaged.
Can I say something here? Like it's the start of a creative journey, not reaching a creative summit. There's a difference, So that was the intention that you identify the talent in their field who who are at that point where a little bit of push and, just putting a spotlight on them can open the door for meaningful things to happen in the times to come.
See, there is a professional angle to what BAFTA Netflix is doing, but there is also a personal angle to me. Had this interview been called a couple of years back before my BAFTA, I wouldn't have come here because I'm such an introvert and I'm afraid to talk. I'm sure it is very difficult to believe it now.
Very, very difficult.
But that's who I was. Thanks to BAFTA, they arranged a lot of communication classes for me. They built the confidence, and I was afraid of so many things. I was simply put, I was afraid of talking to another person. Wow. So that's how introvert I was. That got changed. You can see the difference now.
But I assume the introversion always remains, but you get good at the communication part of it. Fundamentally, introversion is always there.
See, the point is you get to you understand why you're doing this.
Right.
So you're doing this for a purpose. That powers you to talk.
Yeah, lovely. I have a question for you and Alokananda. Like, do you guys have a background music to your life? Like, how do you...
Almost every day, every second, something keeps playing in my studio as well as in my house. Even if I'm just washing the vessels, there needs to be a background score for that.
Yeah, and what kind of music is this? Like?
It depends on my mood. Sometimes it's going to be Hans Zimmer, sometimes it's going to be Ilayaraja sir.
It's the classics then, nice. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. Sometimes it would also be Drake's. So it depends on the mood completely.
What about you?
As I'm getting older, I realize that my tastes and choices are getting narrower and narrower and narrower. The very specific things that I like. But it's good that I know exactly what I like. But in music, while you work, you discover so many things. So my taste, my things keep changing, but there's always background music. There's starting from there's Beatles to Nine Inch Nails to recently discovered this gentleman called Mark Lanegan, who was one of the grunge artists who was not recognized at all. We only know the ones that are popular. And there's always Rage Against the Machine for my for my expression of rage. So there is always all of this playing. That's when I know that I'm at the right place at the right time, because I keep listening. If I don't know if I'll keep doing work always, but I'll keep listening.
Lovely. I have a question for Prateek, Arati and Sumukhi. So when you guys write something, do you think of the plot first, character first, or the landscape first?
I started as a genre filmmaker, so I used to always think of what if first. And this over the years, I realized that is not sufficient. You have to really work a lot with your character, which I'm like, because it's also as a genre filmmaker, you get so excited by the world building part of it that, the character journey starts taking a backseat. And I think I was like, because I recently also shot a film which was only character. There was, I did a Hindi adaptation of Great Indian Kitchen, where there's no plot as such. It's only the character going through the emotions, and that kind of made me rethink how I write my stories a lot. Now I think so much more about what the character is going through and how the plot is, the world building is the backdrop of it. So that has changed a lot. But as a sci-fi, you'll always think of the setup little bit first, There's always, it'll come first, like what if. And in that what if, I always feel there should be a yearning of the soul. If that is there, then you can build that character around that. But sci-fi has to touch the soul somewhere, that's there.
Yeah, so okay.
Writing came very accidentally to me because I always wanted to perform, and I wasn't getting my own acting role, so I was like, okay, cool, I'll start writing. So it was almost arrogant of me that seekh lungi. But then I think eventually as I wrote, I realized how time consuming it is and how interesting it is. But for me, more than anything, if I'm creating something, it is why am I making it? Like why of the story? Or why of the character, why of anything. And it need not be plot related. Like the show that I'm making right now, that I'm writing right now, is my co-writer Sumaira. She said something so basic, and I know everyone sort of relates to it, is that she said when I went to college, her name is Sumaira Sheikh, and she said, oh, I changed my name to Samaira Shayak. I said, what does that mean? She's like, so then you don't know where I'm from. And I laughed, and then I was like, oh my God, that's such a massively heavy line.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's the reason I wanted to make it. The fact that you found solace in a name that is away from you, but you also keep going back to who you are. What a great thought to start with. So even if the show takes or a movie takes 3 years, you come back to that thought. That is why you started. And when that is clear, then honestly, producers or people who are commissioning things, they're like, okay, as long as you have clarity on what you do, rather than just go like, "Hamare isme ek pura ghar jal jayega." They're like, that's great. But jal kyun raha hai? So it's the why of why am I making it?
Mixture. Okay. But like sometimes I feel I look at reality more to find my stories. But मुझे ये भी लगता है कि India science fiction ही लगता है मुझे. Anything can happen there. So so bizarre things can happen, and that's where I am trying to find my stories, which is in a broader spectrum of reality, but within that reality, it's the kind of universe you can explore.
Yeah.
And since there is so much talk about AI right now, I want to ask you, which is that one scene from Indian landscape of movies and shows which you think AI can never write? Like a scene that you really like, AI yaar aisa to kabhi kuch nahi
Any scene, exactly.
How is AI going to
Any
write?
scene.
It's AI.
Yeah.
What is it going to do?
Yeah.
Maybe perhaps a Rajnikant scene, imagine.
Yeah.
Even that.
Like I'm just asking you guys to
Yeah.
be, like just play along. Like okay, ऐसा नहीं लिख सकते. I also agree कि कुछ भी नहीं लिख सकते.
Yeah.
I play.
But
I think all the scenes of Andaaz Apna Apna. No AI can get
No, I was literally thinking कि रात और ये दूरी, but yeah. It's fair.
ये नहीं कर पाएगा.
हम लोग नहीं छोड़ रहे हमारा stand.
मतलब ऐसे मूर्तियों में से आके निकल के जाना या मिथुन के साथ हम रहे हैं. मतलब even today it just AI is good for recreating ना. To imagine something is this is I feel एक unique
Yeah.
है. हमारे सिनेमा का कुछ
Perspective
चीज़
है हमारा. हाँ.
We are anyways very creative, and when it comes to films तो
AI नहीं कर रहा है.
We don't hold back.
ढक्की टिकी ढाक. ये तो शक्ति सर ही कर रहे हैं और राइटर्स ही कर रहे हैं.
yeah.
Sorry.
Time
I
लगेगा.
apologize. Me negated.
Time लगेगा.
Google मैप अभी भी सेटल इन हो रहा है इंडिया में. तो AI को थोड़ा
They're also all behaving like those elders who are like ऐसे थोड़ी ना चलता है. हमारे ज़माने में नहीं चलेगा ये. नहीं, sorry.
Purely if I need to put it in musical terms, I mean, I can understand. See, when you're doing the arrangement, there is a melody line and there are background music that are coming. The background music, yeah, probably AI can. But I think the story and the scenes are more like the melody line, which comes, even we do not know where it is coming from. It suddenly pops out.
Yeah.
So I think that way.
I hope we all are right and like nothing happens to us.
Sorry, we just squashed your question.
Somebody has come to please Alokananda.
There's this thing they say, na, critics are late adopters. So if we are criticizing this,
No, I actually played a lot with AI myself, and I feel that it can rehash and all that. But uniqueness of a story, that will never come. It will come only from a person. It will not be in the database only. Like
It all comes down to why. No, why are
if
you
you're
making it?
doing building blocks and doing rehashes, then it's a different thing altogether. And one can see there's some soulness to it that you see. So that's a late adapter in me speaking, but yeah.
no, but I would love to see you make particularly something around this since you are so much into sci-fi.
Yes.
Oh my God, what am I behaving? I literally wrote dialogues.
For this, I know.
Yeah,
I came on the set also.
AI-based.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything
I
about
told
anything.
him also, I can't believe that it was so timely on ChatGPT.
And it's you know what? You should watch that movie, which will come soon somewhere.
No, my husband is a photographer, and he's just today he shared a post about how he's using it in satire, in political satire, and it looks great. But she's also written about how the core can never be replaced. You know, the idea of the satire can never be replaced. It just and I think to correct what you meant by melody and background music is that you can have the melody, everything else you can hire a bunch of people, bunch of programs to have it, but the actual thought of the melody can never be replaced.
True.
Yeah.
And
So
that's the reason why these are called tools, right?
Yeah, exactly. I feel that AI alone is not powerful, and a man alone is also like in today's times, but combination you can really break through.
Nobody has come to kill Sarah Connor, so
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Like I told you, since we take a lot of recommendations, I want each one of you to recommend me a film or a show that you really like. The first question, let's try like if it is on Netflix, then I'll ask the other question. Like something on Netflix that you really like.
I'm a big fan of Sacred Games, not only in terms of viewing, but as a viewer, though, of course, I enjoyed it, but also as a sort of a masterclass of how you want to do it. And it came in also as at a very early point. So that Sacred Games.
Got it.
But for me personally, which I keep going back to on Netflix is The Intern. It's such
Intern is such a
it's
Happy film.
it's like a warm hug.
Warm
so
hug.
so that's Netflix. But favorite show ever is Veep.
Yeah.
Because in my life I want to be Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
To me, in Netflix, I would say decoupled, especially because of the music composer. I like the concept of the show, but then I think I watched the entire show because of the music. It was set in a very nice jazz genre, and he had done a brilliant job.
And it's not an easy one to sort of compose to because the mood keeps
so
changing.
Many, I mean, within a scene itself, the emotions were a lot of seesaws. And Michael Madana Kamarajan.
Iconic.
Yeah.
God Raplet, Kamal Hassan. And then you had, I don't know how to call him, Crazy Mohan.
Crazy Mohan's a fabulous writer. You can't.
Whenever you go to a theatre work, before you could finish off laughing for one joke, the other joke bombards.
And his live plays and performances were just way better than Crazy Mohan writing for a movie.
Yeah.
That AI is not doing. Sorry, I take it back.
Agreed.
I'm sorry.
Have you guys seen Beef?
Yeah.
I love Beef. I love Beef a lot. मुझे ऐसा लगा कि this show was speaking to me. मेरे अंदर का you know. Especially when this, I don't know. Like I was talking to someone. I said, they talk about gratitude journal, and I was like, so many people advise me when I'm going this, and they said, you don't believe in that. I was like, oh my gosh, like.
It's a personal responsibility now to say. Yes, I also keep.
Think positive.
Just the simmering anger. It's right there. It was gonna burst any minute. So love.
I was watching this Arnold this morning for some
Arnold.
time.
It's very good.
Schwarzenegger.
There's a 3-part docu. Arnold.
Yeah.
It's a very, very powerful docu. Yeah, that's good. And please watch Scoop, guys.
It's
really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I also did an episode with Hansel Mehta, so please also watch that.
Hansel Mehta is a rock star.
You recommending
there's,
something.
Lots of crime dramas, lots of documentaries. Almost all the crime drama documentaries that are there. There's also these British, Broadchurch, all of that. Every time I'm put on the spot, I forget names, but there's so much. There's so much of it. That's all I do. Just watch.
No one is vain enough to like Emily in Paris, I'm assuming.
I didn't mind the first season. I enjoyed it actually. I'm going to say it. And second season also I liked it. Third season I was like, enough. Now Emily, you're showing off. But again, I wasn't, as a viewer, I was like, Emily, everything nice is happening to you. I was going that.
But then actually I forgot. The show Big Bang Theory. I don't know how many times I've seen on Netflix. I mean, it's going on repeat mode. I'm sure it's.
But those shows, Big Bang Theory, Schitt's Creek, Friends, they're stress busters. So people just watch them, over and over again. They're just meant to sort of
possibly my
be lean
Netflix
back
amount
viewing.
of time and Netflix per day has gone phenomenally high because of Big Bang Theory.
There's just one last record. So with my daughter, I was like, I made her see Baking Impossible. I don't know if you've seen that show. It has an engineer and a baker together. So it's a competition, and they have to make something like a robot that's a cake, So they are just something. So it's just something.
Now I also want to ask, and we'll start with Monika. Recommend us something which you love, which is not on Netflix.
Okay. You should have sent, I would have come slightly prepared.
Just take my shoes.
Pushpavalli.
You know what? Let her think in the meantime.
Please.
I already said Veep, which is
Yeah.
not on Netflix, but it's a what a great show.
Yeah.
And she's just the worst person ever, and I just love her. Oh God! And she's no apologies at all. So that's like an iconic show that way. I mean, it's not a show, but I was telling Alokananda this, that I'm recently really obsessing, as you said, ki background mein kya chal raha hai. And I'm writing a movie right now, and my background music is the BGM she did for Jubilee, which is just if no one's got it yet, which is impossible, please do because it's beautiful.
Lovely.
So, not a show, but a piece of art.
Spotify, YouTube.
Yeah.
We can download
I just
that.
paid her right before the start.
No, she did not. I will take the
Okay, guys, like something that you want to recommend outside of Netflix.
I would suggest a lot of Buster Keaton stuff, like see all of it, like, just to see how much he pushed for cinema and things he did. And then we realized, like, we are so worried, one more location ad, but he's like, getting hit by a train or, making his films. So just to see where we came from as, filmmakers. And as sci-fi, I mean, everybody loves Eternal Sunshine, everybody talks about it. So, so maybe his influences, like, Terry Gilliam or Jack Tarty, like, work of those. You should see who influenced him to make Eternal Sunshine, right? So 12 Monkeys was what I would recommend.
Nice.
Yeah.
We should have been sitting with the paper and pen because some great stuff coming.
In terms of show, I don't know. This show called Limited Irma Web. It was on Hotstar. Now it's gone to Geo or whatever. Okay. Limited series set in, I think, France. Maybe, I'm not sure. Very lovely. Just lovely about making of a show, of a recreation of a huge classic film, and they're making it into a show and characters around it. And Treme, I would think it's something I really like, and the music in the show is something you very rarely get to watch in shows like that. And it's set in New Orleans, post the Katrina hurricane, and everybody's coming back, so it's saturated with music. So funeral to party to wedding, everything is being told through music, and very rarely one gets to see that because it doesn't conform to your the usual grammar of shows. So it's really rare, I feel.
As I said earlier, I'm bad at remembering names. I could make a note of the show.
Yeah. I also like Dekh Bhai Dekh. I know it's not. It was.
super cool.
It was one of the first modern families ever.
Yes.
We did Modern Family way before they did. That's what suddenly the visual
lovely.
came.
Yeah.
Scam is one of the show I really enjoyed. I started watching The Heart.
The Heart. Oh, I quite. I
that
really
was
loved
really
it.
nice.
Yeah.
So these are the two things.
I would highly recommend Sharp Objects.
Oh, I love Sharp Objects.
Just really, really blew my mind. And Banshees of Inisherin.
Oh,
And what a film. It just changed everything completely. And Ozarks is on Netflix.
Yeah.
And Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, both of them. Of course, everyone knows about that. And there was one more that I recently started watching. I'm just forgetting. It's a Nordic noir film series, that as well, and there's a horror film called It Follows, which is also something that I really, really, really admire as a craft, and I want to be a part of that kind of a narrative, musical narrative as well. So I would recommend that.
No, please don't ask me. It's very hard for me to recommend
it's
from.
okay. It's okay.
Stick to what she said.
So Sumukhi, I have to ask
Jubilee.
you.
Sorry, I have to say Jubilee. If I didn't say that, that wouldn't be,
Okay. So my question is, and I want to know everyone's opinion, कि जो एक इम्तियाज अली concept है कि टूटे हुए दिल से ही संगीत निकलता है. So is it important to have your heart broken to create art?
Yes. I know the question is for Sumukhi.
I think
That was a resounding.
I think he started. Let me ask Sumukhi. And then like, ये question नहीं हो रहा है.
Like when it's important.
I mean, pain is one of the most powerful element that inspires you. If there is no pain, I might not sound right for everybody, but for me, pain is the most powerful thing. Not just, it's not just heart broken. Every part of the body broken.
I want to know everyone's opinion.
Okay, cool. It always helps. heartbreak, because everyone just either you go inwards on, oh my god, I'm the worst, or you go outwards on, oh my god, he's the worst or she's the worst or they're the worst. So that sort of maybe leads to a seed that is honest. Honestly, the reason why people keep going back to things like heartbreak is that heartbreak brings out something very honest out of you. Like either there's an egotistical side of you, or there is a shy side of you, or there is just something that just killed. It just stopped for you. So, which is why people keep going back to something like a heartbreak, because it's an honest emotion. Otherwise, most of us just pretending to be chill.
Yeah.
हम बहुत chill हैं, हम chill. Wow. But the moment your heart is broken, you're like, oh my god, मैं तो बहुत ही ugly दिखती हूँ. Just immediately go to the worst, and then you have a best friend saying, नहीं, तू ठीक है. So which is why it's such a resounding concept and will always be, because it's very honest.
Lovely.
So, yeah.
Lovely. Guys.
No, I mean it's again. I was just speaking about this earlier today, that it's not. It's very difficult to separate life from work, and I'm not a singer-songwriter, so I can't really have a heartbreak and write about, make up a name and write about it. I'm a film music composer, so I'm not an independent composer. I still have to follow norms. I have to follow timelines. I don't get up and drink wine and wallow in self-pity and write a piece of music. I have to be up with coffee and submit. So it's a life lesson as well. When Sacred Games happened, I had my father was really ill. Jubilee happened. He was at the hospital during his dialysis. I was coming back from the hospital and then writing. I'm not going to say that pain is good, or given a choice, I would opt for no pain, please, in life, because I'm not the kind who would play the piano when I'm sad. I'll sit and cry. But it does do something. Obviously, it changes you completely. So to learn to still work within those boundaries, not just heartbreak in general, it's a huge life lesson, I believe.
I think a lot of chart-busting music has definitely come from there. But I also feel that any kind of deep emotional churn, does reflect itself in your art and takes it to the next level, one way or another. So I think eventually you're expressing yourself. So that expression just comes out. But I don't think you can replicate that really authentic pain in every project that you do, that you've had it once and now you're just going to photocopy it across. That doesn't happen. But yes, it does come out in that moment in time, and it becomes an artist's way of really peaking in their craft, and then life goes on.
Arati, you know why I asked this question? Because your inspiration also, and someone I like, Ray Bradbury, he says that he was an happy artist. And there is a line he says, ki, I want you to envy me my joy. Like I had so much fun writing for all my life that I don't believe in the concept of like having your heart broken to create stuff.
In fact, there's this quote, like, we must stay drunk in writing to avoid the world.
That is also Ray Bradbury.
Yeah, that's also him. Yeah, for me also, like, as Aloka said, that there's two parts of us. One is the art part and the craft part. Like, when we are doing the craft, when I'm as a director, I'm going there doing my job, I'm being diligent, I'm considering my scene well in the emotional this. Of course, I'm feeling for my characters, and more as I'm maturing as an artist, I'm crying for my characters for no reason. Like, people like, why are you crying? I said, just ignore that. So you feel for the character per se. Like, you're in that character's shoes at that point. Like, that's where I feel for. But as far as story is concerned, I've written something that I'm proud of. It's come from very deep sense of, insecurity, that I will just disappear and I'll not make something worthwhile. So for me, when that comes, I know that I'm awake all night and I'm doing this, and then I definitely crack something. So that has happened with me. Like, mera to bahut hi, like, oh my gosh, what will happen? Like,
मैं तो नहीं मानता। सिंपल सी बात है।
क्या नहीं मानते?
कि दिल विल टूटना फालतू, ये सब फालतू
ये तो चीटिंग है।
You just killed all this poetry in a second.
Because I really feel half the problem with our cinema or series is about middle-aged men trying to be 17-year-olds and talking about their heartbreak that they had 20 years back. So वो recreation ना वो infantilize किया हुआ है heartbreak को.
You just broke so many middle-aged men.
I'm sorry, but the infantile is, how do I say, the यही क्या एक ही somehow romanticize नहीं करना चाहिए पेन को किसी भी तरह के. I feel, and especially ऐसा लगता है कि वो ही sad artist is the true artist, or frustrated or the angry artist. Like personally, I was very angry when I made my film, but that anger was interpreted in terms of humor, and that's how I wanted to. I want to make films in anger, but not angry films.
Yeah.
You know, that's the difference. We have to keep realigning. This pain has to be interpreted, manifested in some, expressed in some form. दुख बहुत है दुनिया में यार.
And also, you know, there's an emotion part and there's a skill part.
Yes.
You can't say that the emotion part overrides the skill part.
This is
Like for
very
all the
yeah.
makers,
Yeah.
the
That
is true.
skills that you have,
Yeah.
the talent, you
Yeah.
guys spend hours and hours honing your craft,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And that counts for, you can't just say that if you don't have that emotion, you can just put away the skill.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen like that. So that statement is true for certain projects, moments in time,
Yeah.
and for different
Yeah.
kinds of
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's genuinely the emotional of it, like the fact that heartbreak is so painful to you. But also sometimes heartbreaks are not just only teary, painful. Sometimes they're happy also. Like you're glad that something ended. Because I mean, of course, you're sad about it because something that you were used to, and something of a behavior or something of like एक आदत सी पड़ गई थी, वो आदत छूट गई है, तो वो तो होता है. But maybe you're happी that you've gone through that.
Yeah.
So that's also, it honestly comes down to, as he said, his emotions very clearly anger, which is very honest emotion. कि मेरे को गुस्सा आ रहा है, तो इस लाइन में मेरा दिल टूटा, मैं क्या करूँ? तो उसमें अगर, but I think as she said, replicating it is the tacky part of it.
Yeah. मैं आपके साथ बैठ सकता हूँ बाद में. पसंद आ गई आपकी.
Like कोई नहीं होता sad man, सब खुश रहो और घर जाओ.
Stop bellowing. Get up.
आप लोग 2 glass पानी पियो और निकलो.
You order some whiskey and start through our poetic, you just like killed it. It was like
फालतू चीज. He's like ये सब कुछ नहीं होता. 1 लीटर पानी पियो. सब ठीक हो जाएगा.
लो काम करो बस चुपचाप काम करो.
I again want to talk about the program, and Monika, do you have any suggestions for the future like applicants for BAFTA Breakthrough program?
I just feel that like everyone who's out there who really wants to get in touch with talented people like them or internationally, because the program has that specific thing to, to put you in touch through BAFTA with the artists you admire, people you want to work with, and just, make your connections. This is a time in everyone's career, the early years when it matters to actually be able to reach out to people. Like all of you were saying earlier, whether for conversation, listening to people, to understand what their struggles were, to feel inspired, or to just have someone to, just you can shadow for a bit.
Yeah.
So I think that this is an opportunity for everyone. I really want a lot more people to actually, this is the 3rd year.
Yeah.
More people should apply and look at you guys, get in touch with you all, get in touch with the ones in year 1. And this is like a good platform. It's an amazing way to start on your journey, to start, like these are building blocks.
Yeah.
Treat it like building blocks of your career. And just make use of it, And I think for us as Netflix, it's so important to, in our own way, be able to give back, to be able to contribute to the creative community, to help make those connections, and just become the creative enablers, and just join everyone. Because the journey of entertainment cannot just be on people who have arrived. Actually, for us as a service, it's a constant endeavor to keep finding the new voices, keep nurturing the new talent, because only then will we stay fresh as a service. We will actually keep bringing new stuff to the audiences. So it's our responsibility. We are very mindful of it, and we feel very excited to partner on such programs.
Lovely. So these were all the questions from my end. But is there anything that I didn't speak about, but you would like to talk about? Like, hey, we didn't talk about this, or anything like that? Anything you would like?
Prateek doesn't want to talk about heartbreak.
I want to talk about food.
By the way, food and AI are joining hands together a lot.
For these stars, perfect.
I shot a film which was essentially a food film. Like it was great in kitchen. So,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
In
Like,
what
so much
capacity?
food.
Food and AI, like in what capacity are joining hands? Like,
Because chefs are using AI to create
recipes.
new recipes,
oh,
try new recipes. It's actually,
wow, wow,
yeah,
Wow.
flavors that they
nice,
haven't tried before. And
nice.
I think I would like to talk about Better Call Saul with you
Yeah,
for the
let's-
next
yeah,
5 hours.
Yeah.
So you can count me out of that.
Yeah.
But really so
Anything.
amazing to actually just DM him and
Yeah.
for him to respond.
Yeah.
I mean, how many
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
big creators
Yeah.
or talent responds so
Yeah.
immediately
This is-
like that.
this
This
is-
is really
This is
special.
how we close 80% of the guests on the channel. Like, we just
I
like keep
love,
at it.
I love that energy. I
Yeah.
love that.
What a
Like,
hustle,
you know.
Yeah, really.
And
great
Breaking Bad
hustle.
was Breaking Bad. It was
Yeah.
huge. But then Better Call Saul, when it started, it didn't have the weapons of
Yeah.
of the of all these musings that
Yeah.
Breaking Bad had. It didn't have anything. But
Yeah.
the writing
Yeah.
and the build up and the characterization, that I think by far in my entire life I haven't come across anything as good as Better Call Saul.
What a remarkable spin-off.
What
And
a
to become as big as the...
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
so there's a concept called weaponized nostalgia, like where you bring in something so that like एक emotion
Yeah,
निकल के आए.
buttons.
Better Call Saul didn't use that. It's a low hanging fruit. कि ये चीज दिखा दे इससे ना वो याद आएगा and people
Yeah.
will come. Better Call Saul till this last season didn't show Walter White and stuff like that. So that is one of the reasons I also like it, as you mentioned.
Yeah, it's amazing how somebody can write something like that. And it's we have the Coen brothers, we have the Kaufmans, but we
Yes.
have now we come to a show who's written a spin-off based off minor characters, and the first few seasons was just the two brothers, just like how True Detective's first season was. It's just the conversation between two people. To be able to create that kind of nuanced drama, I think it's exceptional.
I think it's also rare because you see a lot of shows do well, okay, 2-3 seasons.
Yeah.
But just to be able to have that enough material to go on 5, 6, 7 seasons, it can't. And when you start peaking or having too many musings, you run out of things.
Yes.
True. कैसे करोगे?
Yeah, I have to recommend something on Netflix, which is Kingdom. Have you seen that? The zombie show,
Zombie,
set
yes,
in
yes,
Korean
yes.
zombie show
Korean
set
one,
in
yeah.
18th century.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's the coolest
Very
thing you'll
powerful
it's,
show.
You have
Very
to see
good
it.
show. It was
You'll see
quite a
it. It's like
chartbuster.
you'll feel that you're seeing some medieval Chinese drama, and then the zombies coming in, and then by episode 3, the scale it touches, it's amazing. Yeah.
This is lovely.
Yeah.
It's really remarkable.
So this was great. Thank
Yes,
you so
yes,
much for
yes.
your time, like
Yes,
everyone.
thank you.
And I don't have any ending words, but do subscribe to Chalchitra Talks, guys. Do keep watching Netflix. And
whoever we spoke about recommendation, and if you're an artist, you want to reach out to them, BAFTA Breakthrough is a great place to apply because you can meet and speak to these people and get inspired.
And इस episode में जितनी recommendations थे, if someone can write those in the comments, it would be amazing. Thank you so much.
हम भी पढ़ लेंगे. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.